Okay, friends, everything is ready. We're also on YouTube. And I will send you the link then after. And slowly, maybe in September, I don't know, if I feel comfortable with it, we can think about opening this teaching or this workshop. This Dharma workshop, let's say, yes, Dharma workshop. I think it's good. This Dharma workshop, because till now on YouTube, it's on a sort of private cycle. So no one else can have a look on the things I'm saying, because I'm not sure it's, I said that to Sevana. For me, it's quite, if many people hear me speaking English and teaching the Dharma in that way, I don't know. I really, I don't know. In French, it's okay for me, but in English, I'm very no, how you say? Not shame. Shy.
Shy.
Shy. Yes, shy. Anyway, okay, we start with this teaching. With the refuge, bodhicitta, as you always know, just in order also to turn our mind toward the Dharma, in the direction of the Dharma, thinking that we can also always visualize the Buddha in front of us. It can be good also. It's a good inspiration. When we do that, one very good point we find in commentaries and oral explanations, it's that the Buddha, he's looking at us. So this is quite important, because it's not that we just imagine something or someone not vivid, he has to be really real, So the Buddha, he's staring at us, looking at us, smiling, very kind, and so we can feel also the pleasure, and more than pleasure, of course, but the great fortune that we have to be seated in front of the Buddha, listening his teaching. So it's a kind of we develop a kind of feeling. In the commentaries, it is said like this, but it's quite funny because we never really take the time, to be in that imagination. But I think it's very good to take the time of that, and so taking refuge in that presence. Sangye je tang tsoge janam la chanchum pradu dane chanchoy je. Dage jenso ge pe tsunong ge pala penjre sangye dumpa cho. Sangye je tang tsoge janam la chanchum pradu dane chanchoy je. Dage jenso ge pe tsunong ge pala penjre sangye dumpa cho. Sangye je tang tsoge janam la chanchum pradu dane chanchoy je. Dage jenso ge pe tsunong ge pala penjre sangye dumpa. Sing chen tam che dewa tam de jo tam den pa dong a da dong a ge jo tam do ra jo dong a me pe dewa tam pa tam men do ra jo nye ring ja tam nye tam che le tam yan chen pa ne para jo. Om Palen Chai Lama Rinpoche Dage Jewa Beme Denjo Adin Chenbe Gome Jezond Pozum Tunga Ngadon Zando. Okay. Okay, so we'll continue with these four dharmas of Gampopa. So today, the last time we started with the fourth one. So delusions that appear as wisdom. So it's quite, even if the commentary it's on that dharma, it's quite short, let's say. Yes, there is no many words who are as you saw, because you have the commentary, we're at the end of the commentary, so there is not many things explained, but anyway, it's really something. So it means that we can dig a lot in that part and understand a lot also. It's quite crucial, in fact. Everything is crucial in Gambapa for Dharma. But here, just to think about what it is said. So delusions that appear as wisdom, it means that there is a great transformation in ourselves, because for myself, and right now, my confusion appear as confusion. So it's a step further in order that all this confusion appear as wisdom. But maybe it's normal. I think it's, yeah, sure, it's normal. But also it can be normal in another sense, because maybe first, I don't know exactly, but there is in some commentary, I like this sentence. It is said, negativity are not or negativity, but they are useful because it allows us to purify from them, to get rid of them. And so I think it's quite interesting, because with our confusion, we can develop a lot of quality. We can recognize it. We can have a proper understanding of what we are, but taking care of not discouraging ourselves also, not the depress, how we say, we can, yeah, have a bad idea about ourselves. So this is not the point. This is not the point, but really developing the honesty. Maybe we can say that. So confusion, it's very good for that, because we can have a true understanding of what we are presently. It's not our nature, but presently. And so it's useful, because the work that we have to do, it's a work that use that confusion. For instance, when we think about the 6 parameters, for instance, just to be generous or to be patient, we cannot be patient without something that makes us angry or totally upset. It's not possible. So we need these circumstances to develop these qualities. I think it's very good. And so on that point, thinking that they are useful to get rid of them. So they are also useful in the perspective of the mind training. They are also useful to train with them, to train in that honesty, in that introspection, also insight. You can develop really an insight to understand what is going on, or why you react in that way. So they are very interesting. I remember the Karmapa in a teaching in Delhi. I think I told you this already, but it was really something for me. He said, after a very long remark from someone about the confusion and how to get rid of that, and he just said, study them. And just that, after a few minutes, it was very long, the remark. So the person was speaking almost to ourselves. And so it was so precise, so like crispy, something like this. So the Karmapa just said, study them. And he said nothing more. And it was really interesting because at that moment, I think everyone, I hope that lady understood what he was saying. But I think everyone understood that, okay, this is the point. So all these strategies that we developed to get rid of this, in fact, was wiped out with the instruction of Karmapa instantly. It was not the point to get rid of that. The point was to study them, to understand. And so it's also the occasion of compassion and kindness toward ourselves. Because in that way, because we know very well to think that we are not enough perfect. So this we know very well. But it's more difficult for us to develop a true kindness, really. And thinking that, I don't know, we don't know exactly. So I don't know how to describe, because I have to develop that also. For instance, when I see how I perceive myself, I think that I have to make progress. I'm lazy, and I have many judgments like this, and it's quite rare when I think that, wow, poor me, like Shantine was speaking to his mind. So poor me, okay, you are like this, so it's difficult for you, no? Yeah, and you are struggling to become better. But do you really do what you need to do? It's something more kind. So all this confusion that we have can be used for that. Maybe I'm saying all of this because maybe it's one of the first one of the first step to go to that point, delusions that appear as wisdom. Because at this step, maybe delusions are not pure wisdom, but it starts to be, because it starts to enlighten us on the way we are, and the person we are, what are our pattern, mental pattern, how we perceive things. So it's a kind of wisdom. And at the level of Karmapa speaking, it's more deeper than that. Sure, it's because he said, and we'll see again. I think it's important to see again what he he says concerning the paramita. So delusion that appear as wisdom according to the paramita. In that case, delusions that appear as wisdom according to the Paramitayana, the consciousness of a dispeller of delusion belongs to apparent reality and resembles dream illusions, the dispeller of delusions. So at that point, it means that we can use tools to dispel delusion, but we are also the dispeller of delusions. So both are a dispeller of delusion. So this resemble dream illusions. So maybe this is also a question of kindness and compassion, because when we say dream illusions, you know, we say that usually. I don't know how you say that. I don't know how you perceive that. But I think mainly when we say dream illusion, it's more technical. But dream illusion can be more on the compassion side, or the expression of a kind of a kind of kindness. Why? Because we can imagine the person who speaks to the poor me and who says, but just don't be so afraid, don't be so depressed. It's just a dream illusion. So it's also something warm, you know, like a mother who takes care of his child making a nightmare. So at that moment, she has to use all her love and kindness and reassuring the child, saying it's not bad, don't be too afraid, it's just a dream, you know. And it's just a dream, because as the Buddha, he's saying, we are really how I can say, yes, we are childish, you know. Chipa in Tibetan. Chipa means little children, you know. Chipa means we're like this. We're like, little beings, you know, afraid of something, hoping for something, you know, fearing something, you know, thinking that we have to struggle to get big and this and that. And when the Aryas, you know, the noble ones, so the Buddha and the Bodhisattvas, they look at us, I think, you know, like the karma passing to that person, but just study them, you know. It's like, you know, saying that you all trip, you know, you all game trying to get rid of that. This is all of this is a dream, you know. All of this is a game, you know. You don't have to do that. You don't. So don't struggle in that way, you know. Just study them, you know. It's here not to harm you. It's here to teach you. It's here to show you something. And so I think, you know, when we say the dispeller of delusions belongs to apparent reality and resembles dream illusion, belongs to apparent reality, means this is, you know, relatives, totally relative. It's not the true reality. Because when we say apparent reality, I will check in Tibetan. Tulpa yeshes charwan tulpa selkengi shepa te kunzup juma milam tabu. Kunzup, yeah, clearly, when we say apparent reality, in that case, it's really the relative reality, when what we say in Tibetan kunzup, because here kunzup juma milam tabu. Kunzup Juma, it's really the illusion of the relative truth. So all of this, it's illusion of the relative truth. So we are like playing in a way, because when we say Kunzup Juma, with, you know, it's plus, we can say it's illusion, because Kunzup means relative truth, so illusion. And when it is written, sorry, when it is written, Kunzup Juma means illusion, illusion of the illusion, because Gyuma, it's really like the Maya, so the total illusion in which the Matrix, it's like in the movie The Matrix, we are in the total delusion of that, delusion of the reality. But the reality itself is delusion. So it's delusion of delusion. So this is the dispeller. The dispeller of delusions belongs to that. And so it means our wish to get rid of belongs to that, but also the tools we're using belongs to that. Everything belongs to that. So we have to know that. And if one has realized in such a way that all grasped and grasping are primordially not different and non-dual, so I have a nature that is inherently, utterly pure, free from appearing and non-appearing, thoroughly pacified from grasp and grasping, and are free from the extreme of elaborations, then it is delusion that appear as wisdom. So it means that when we realized that the grasped and grasping, so the grasped and grasping, both of them belongs to the kunzop, to the relative reality, in fact. And so this is really important, because it means that the actor and the act, the two, are illusion, both of them. But it's not to say that, and so this is difficult, we saw that, but I think it's important to, again, to say it. We're quite used to, as a Buddhist, or as person who heard a lot of teaching, we are used to that formula. Everything is delusion, everything is illusion. So we know that. But the problem is that we think that we are looking at something, thinking that this is delusion. And the problem is that there is someone who looked at something, thinking in that way. So normally, for an ordinary being, we never think that the looker, so ourselves, is also total delusion. We really think that, okay, everything is delusion. And, it's like perceiving the world like in the Matrix. Yeah, so no, because, this is why the movie is very interesting, but it's not totally a Buddhist. We can say, yes, it's a Buddhist movie. But the point is that, for instance, in the Matrix movie, Neo, the protagonist, the first character of this movie, he don't think he is delusion, He's absolutely, and Morpheus and all others, they really think that they are real, and they are fighting against the delusion. And we perceive things in that way usually, in fact. Because as a Buddhist, we think that the problem is that this is delusion, and we have to get rid of that delusion, or we have to understand that this is delusion. But it's not exactly what it is said here. Here, it is said that grasped and grasping are primordially not different. So we are not different from that illusion. So that means that it's more like a mirror. So if we understand that delusion, so it has to do something with the fact that we are also a delusion, or also an illusion. So it means that, as we saw together, the dreamer and the dream both are illusion, because during the dream there is a conscience, there is someone who is absolutely sure that there is a tiger. So, and it's really tangible, we can say. We think that This is the situation. And when we wake up, we just think that the tiger wasn't true, but we don't think that the dreamer was also an illusion. Usually we never think that in that way, never. Or we need the Dharma to be aware of that. Otherwise, we are not aware of that. And so it's really interesting that we are not aware of that, because this is the difference between thinking that everything is illusion and the Dharma, who teaches that grasped and grasping, so the dreamer and the dream, both of them are not different and are a delusion, both of them. So the tiger doesn't exist and the dreamer doesn't exist. And so, yes, wow. And there is a second wow, because in fact, it doesn't exist, but it appears. And we have the experience. And so this is quite stunning, you know, breathtaking. because in fact, how it is possible that we experiment sensation, perception, vision. So how it is possible that we can use our senses, but at the same time, all of this doesn't exist. So this is almost impossible to figure out. It's really how it is possible, you know, because we perceive in the dream where really we feel fear. We can wake up and sweating, you know, or shaking. Anyway, you know, it's a real experience. And desire, it's the same thing. You know, the intensity of what we perceive, it's very clear. But they are not different, non-dual. And their nature are inherently, utterly pure, free from appearing and non-appearing. So it means that really, in fact, the nature of that, it's the absolute. It's totally the absolute. And so after, yeah, when it's free from the extreme of elaboration, so extreme of elaboration, it's to think that it exists or it doesn't exist. You know, all these extremes, all these kind of thoughts are extremes. So when it's like to say, when we cannot say it exists or it doesn't exist, so this delusion appears as wisdom. What to do with that for ourselves? For ourselves, maybe what to do with that is that we have to meditate with that. We have to do Shine Laktong Mahamudra, absolutely. Because really, otherwise, yeah, all the theories, it's very important because we can understand a lot of things through that. But in order to really understand, so we'll need to meditate, to make the experience of the nature of the nature of the grasped and grasping. So it means, because during the meditation there is no differences because we have a mind, we have a conscious, and we have thoughts, for instance. And usually we just think that our thoughts are delusion or impermanent, and we think like this. And it's very good. For instance, we have thoughts, we perceive them as impermanent, but we are impermanent. So the conscious is impermanent. It's not the thoughts that are impermanent. When we, if we really, if we really use the non-dual aspect of that, because it is said they are not different and non-dual. And okay, let's say it's absolutely true. It's not different. It's not non-dual. So it means that when we see during the meditation or during the life, whatever, we have thoughts. We perceive these thoughts exactly like in a dream. So we have a reaction, we have sensation, we have feelings, and so on. And 10 minutes after, so there is no more. There is another sound, there is another impression, there is another thought, I don't know, whatever. In fact, if this is non-different, not different and non-dual, it means that this is the consciousness. This is the dreamer. It's not the dream, or it's no, or it's not the thought or the thinker. The thinker and the thought are absolutely the same. So the one who experiments the sensation and the sensation itself are the same. So if we see in that way, we say, okay, let's say it's real. It's real. It means it's not different. But you imagine, usually I think that I'm real and I have a movie in front of me. So I mean perceptions, sounds that I hear, things that I see, and so on, all the object of my senses. But if I'm thinking that I'm absolutely not different, so it means that there is no one looking at this. Impossible. Because the thought is the thinker. There is no thinker of this thought. So it can be something, I think this can be very useful to experiment. It's a way of how we say, of not being outside of ourselves. Otherwise, we are always outside. So it means that all objects are objects. And we cannot, in that perspective, we cannot put an end to the perceiver of the perceived. We cannot put an end to the idea that there is object that exists outside. So it means when we say not different and non-dual, it means that these objects at one point has to be understood as the consciousness itself. That's why in the Mahamudra we say that everything that we perceive are the mind. It's not to say absolutely, because the mind itself is free from any intrinsic reality. But it means that in a pedagogical, how we say, in a learning process, in a training process, we have to really understand, but more than understand, we really have to make the experience of of not thinking, but not being separated from, yeah. It's not that I'm looking at you, it's that I'm looking at me. to say in these words. And but really, really, if everything, if the dream is the projection of the dreamer, and we're sure of that, absolutely sure of that. So it means that when I'm looking at the tiger, for instance, I'm not looking at the tiger. In fact, I'm looking at the dreamer. There is no dreamer outside of this, outside of the tiger. There is no. It's impossible. Otherwise, we cannot say it's non-different, not different, and non-dual. So it really means that the tiger is the dreamer. The tiger in the dream is the dreamer. So it means that all the objects of the senses that I perceive now are the consciousness, are me, in fact. But so it's quite strange, we can say, because it means that when I look at my screen on the computer, I see your faces, and I'm sure you are there, and you are there. It's clear, but it's myself. I see my consciousness. And so I don't know what to do with that, but we have to figure out, and we have to do something with that. And maybe, as the Karmapa he's saying, we have to study them. We have to understand that. And while understanding this, we also start to understand that effectively the so-called perturbating emotions, they don't really exist, because because we perceive in another way. If I remember that what I'm perceiving has to do, or to say in another, to put in another word, in other words, when I understand that the dream that I'm perceiving tells something about the dreamer, so I see the dream in another way. So I start to learn something from the confusion also. So that's why I started with that, because maybe there is a process. Because what is really interesting, he doesn't say, Gambapa and the commentator, so the fourth Shamapa, he doesn't say that delusion disappears. This is quite something. He says that delusion appear as wisdom. No, but it's not a detail. Because in our mind, we think that delusion will disappear. But not. It doesn't disappear. It means that the world, the tiger, the sensations, the feeling, the emotions, everything will not disappear. But in our thinking, we always think that this will disappear and something else will appear. And not, no. It's just that this delusion, all of the experiments that we have with delusion will appear as wisdom. So it starts to appear as wisdom when we understand that the tiger in the dream, it's not only a tiger in a dream, because the tiger in the dream tells something of the dreamer itself. So it's not, it's no more just a tiger. It starts to be the understanding of the dreamer. So it doesn't disappear. It appears as something new. So it means that, just imagine that from now on, everything that we'll perceive will teach us something about ourselves, but really about our consciousness. So it's incredible, you know, because, but really everything. Because for, I don't know for you, but for myself, it's incredible. You know, I'm making so big differences, you know, between something that I consider, this is good. Okay, this, yes, Jean-Marc, you've done the good thing. Oh, good boy, you know. And this, no, this is very bad. You are lazy, you are bad, you understand nothing, you know. Oh, you are the bad boy, you know. I really perceive things like this. I don't know for you, because maybe you are very good, so you're always, you know, on the good side. I'm not always on the good side. Absolutely not. So I have in my mind, you know, I have this way of perceiving, totally crazy, you know. Because in fact, when I read this, when I think about that, when I meditate, when I go back to that experience of what I'm perceiving, so I remember that everything, not only one thing, but everything is delusion, you know. And I have to understand that. Otherwise, I will be always trapped in the categories that I have. So that's why, you know, the consciousness of a dispeller of delusions belongs to apparent reality. So this is really important, you know. So it means that everything, not only the bad things, but also the good things. So it means everything. So everything teach me something about my confusion, but also teach me something about the nature of that confusion. So the nature of that confusion is wisdom. Because it's delusion. You know, it's not that wisdom start when delusion, it's not delusion. Wisdom starts when delusion is perceived as a delusion. It's a delusion. It's an illusion. So, and understanding that this is an illusion, it's the beginning of wisdom. It's not not the end, you know. It's not that I understand. It's because what I'm doing and what we do generally, it's to it's to think, okay, I understand. So this is delusion. So I have to get rid of that. I don't understand. Oh, this is a delusion. It's delusion. Oh, so this is a wisdom. This is an understanding of that. Because, you know, when we meditate, so yeah, we have many thoughts, and all of these thoughts, all of this, when you see in the instruction of Mahamudra, even the good thoughts, the bad thoughts, same, really same. So palang mepa means you don't have to push that away. You don't have to take this for you. You know, palang mepa means that. So everything you have to be in the same mood for any thoughts that appear in your mind. Any, you make no difference with these thoughts. So it means that everything is recognized at that moment, is recognized as illusion. And so it's the beginning of wisdom. because you don't want to act differently because you perceive in that way or in this way, and you start to act in an, let's say, wisdom manner, not in a confused manner. The confused manner, it's to think that I have to get rid of something. In fact, but sure, because of that, we also have to be very careful, because it's not to say in a relative level we don't have to get rid of many things. So, but we have to. That's the reason we find that we find in many commentaries that we have to act on the relative level, but without to be how we say, never forgetting of the ultimate aspect of the relative truth. So that's why, for instance, at the end of a dedication of merits, we just take a while to be in the Chersosum. Chersosum means, you know, or Colosum. Korosum Mimikpa. Korosum Mimikpa means we start to be, it's not outside, but yes, the words are poor, but transcending. We can say that. Yeah, it's not very good, but anyway, transcending the idea of being someone who do the dedication, transcending the idea that a dedication exists, and transcending the idea that there is benefactor, not benefactor, someone who gets this dedication, you know. There is no doer doing an object of doing. So this is Korsum Minukpa in Tibetan. And so why we are doing this, I always remember Lama Tenzang saying that we do that to train ourselves in that. So it's absolutely clear in the, for instance, in Lama Tenzang's mind, that we're training on the path. You know, we'll get used to that. But it's clear that we are not at that level. And we know that, and it's okay. It's exactly the same thing saying that all the objects that we perceive are the consciousness. So I'm not at that level, you know, I'm not realizing this. You know, if otherwise, you know, I will be on the fourth Dharma of Gampopa and everything's clear. Because, you know, okay, delusion will really appear as wisdom. But for me, it's not that. But I get used to, by training myself to that fact. So to the fact that the tiger says something of the dreamer and has nothing to do as something outside of the dreamer. So the nature of the tiger is the nature of the dreamer. And so this is my part of the training I can do, you know, and that's why I'm saying this way of being black and white, thinking that I have to get rid of that, I have to take this. So this is a game, or we can say, I can play that game, but I have to never forget. I have to. How we say that in English? I don't have to forget. You know, I don't have to forget that this is a game. You know, this is really important. Otherwise, I will be too serious. You know, thinking of when I'm thinking that I'm a bad boy, it's not a problem if I just perceive that as an illusion as the rest. Otherwise, I will take it too seriously. And I cannot do progress, and I cannot have compassion. Because compassion is always, it's always hiding behind the wall, you know. We forget compassion, but compassion is there always. And but really, otherwise, when I say to myself, "Oh, bad boy," I have no compassion. And no compassion, what does it mean? I don't remember that I'm trapped by illusion. This is not having compassion. When we have compassion, we know that we are trapped. This is absolutely clear. Otherwise, how can we have compassion for someone we think that he's totally in the reality? I mean, if we have someone who is very angry at us or very upset or whatever, you know, insulting us, so we cannot have compassion for that person if we think that what he's saying is absolutely real, you know. But if we remember that he's trapped in his confusion, and in his confusion we are the enemy, for instance, because it's exactly this. So, you know, in his confusion, we are the enemy, we are the tiger of his dream, let's say, and he thinks that he's a dreamer and the tiger really exists. So he thinks that we really exist as the enemy. And so this is his dream. But if I remember that, you know, I have more chance to it's not 100% sure, but I have more chance to be compassionate than thinking that all of this is real. Because all of this is real means I react in a confused way to that confusion. So I think that I'm really that enemy he's projecting on me. So at one point, we always have to call back compassion because compassion is needed in that case, you know, absolutely important. Yes, this is what we can say maybe on this point.
Yeah.
Or we can say a lot of more things, yeah. But
yeah, Mark, thank you very much, because I mean, first of all, like you don't have to be shy with your English, because your teachings are really clear, and really thank you very much. And yes, I wanted to ask you something about this topic, because first of all, I think there is nothing more relaxing and nothing better to let it go everything than to know that thinker and the thinking is the same. I think this is the best for relaxing, because then you just have to let go. Nothing else to do. And my question with this is, like, always when I'm reading the book of the Ninth Karma Path, this Ocean of True Meaning, and there is a part in the Mahamudra which Karmapa is saying, I mean, not the exact words, but something like, even in a point, reciting mantras and doing the puja, it's something like the practitioner doesn't want to do, because it's like something like it's also an artificial thing, you know. And I want to ask you, because when you are talking about these points, I mean in general, but about this point, this always brings to my mind this feeling like, really, what I want to do is Shine Lakton Mahamudra in the way like also Gampopa was teaching us, no, as in the special way he created. I mean the structure, because really there is nothing else to do, you know, that just to observe it, you know? And then always with your words somehow remind me this, you know, it's like it's just only stay and stay, you know, it's not, and then for me I have to think, well, but then yes, but also Lama Thompson told me to do this, but also to do the you know, the Michadorje Guru Yoga and so on, and I know also I know that in this part also we have Shine and Lacton included, obviously, but you know, yes, I wanted to share that. To, if you can tell me something now, what do you think about?
You know, it yeah, it's beautiful, because you're totally right. Yes, we don't have to do something very complicated according to the Mahamudra instructions that we received, and it's right. I think the devotion that we can develop through the Guru Yoga, all the practice that we have, that we do, the formal practice that we do, maybe we have to start to do it in a more, like you said, in a more relaxed way. So it means that these are only a way of moving inside of the delusion. You know, it's not something that we have to think we have to think it's too real, you know, because otherwise we'll miss the point. But it's also very interesting to act, I mean, to be in the action of the world, the action of the Dharma, but with that kind of understanding, because we'll learn a lot of things. It's like we'll go out today doing, I don't know, some whatever, you know, we'll be on the street, we'll perceive and think, and this is not non-meditation, you know, according to what we do. What we understand now, so we can really continue to understand, but not in a really heavy way, you know, but just to understand, yeah, because we'll continue to dream, but we can have another look on the dream. So I think, you know, maybe for my level and maybe for yours, I don't know, it's the same one. So I mean, it's not a question of level, but it's more the question of what we need, you know. But I don't know exactly, you know, I will be a great bodhisattva if I really understand what exactly you need, what exactly Nikki needs, Sevana, LA, you know, so it will be marvelous, you know. I make the wishes, you know, to be capable of that. But anyway, maybe we need just to remember that what I perceive in my everyday life, it's a dream illusion, and what I'm doing, when I'm practicing, it's also dream illusion. But when I'm doing Shine meditation, Shine Lakno Mahamudra, it's also dream illusion. You know, there is no, but this is just to say there is a meaning in that. But sure, you know, we want also just to be relaxed. I mean, relax. It's not, the point is not to be relaxed, but just to perceive the nature of things. And I think the good balance, it's also doing Mahamudra meditation, absolutely. And also doing all our practices or all our ordinary actions in this Mahamudra perception, Mahamudra vision. And maybe this is Tawa Gompa Chupa. So it means it's the view. So we're here, what we are doing here, we are developing the view. So developing the view, Tawa Gompa, means after we can meditate with that view, but meditate, it means everything. And Chupa means we can can express through our actions, our understanding and our meditation. But I also have in my mind, so I will find it out. Just quickly jump. I think about a text, a beautiful text, on the nature of mind. And I think you will get an answer with that. The title of this instruction is the Kusali's instruction on the nature of mind. I will send you then after. To all of them, to all of you, sorry. The Kusali's instruction on the nature of mind by Jangan Control, Namo Guru. And he says that, although there are many ways of explaining view and meditation, they all come down to sustaining the essence of one's own mind. What we call mind, it's not something that exists elsewhere. It is the very thought that you are experiencing right now. So without being swept away and following wherever it leads, look directly into its face, its very own essence. At that time, there is no duality of looker and looked at. As it is empty, there is no real substance. As it is clear, it is aware of itself. These qualities are not separate. They are a unity. Out of nothing at all, anything at all can arise. You need only sustain this with the mindfulness of never forgetting this bare and simple recognition of the nature itself. There is no need to search for some other objects of meditation, untainted by fabricate hopes and anxieties. Is it or is it not? Allow the mind to settle directly, just as it is. This unfabricated and ordinary knowing is the ultimate clear light of Dhammakaya. Although many special terms exist in Mahamudra and Dzogchen, the real root of the practice boiled down to simply this. Not content with this, seeking Buddhahood as some other excellence is merely to be bound up in hope and fear, something to avoid. As a means of bringing about realization in this way, devotion and the accumulation are the utmost importance. So always emphasize devotion for the Guru and Lord of Organ, and strive to practice virtue with your body, speech, and mind. In response to the request of my own student, Pema Chupel, a holder of awareness mantras from Gato Tindu, I, the Kushali Lodretaye, wrote this from Dechen as a link. May virtue and positivity abound. It's really a profound teaching. It's really incredible. Because in few words, you know, Jangan Control really say everything about what you are saying, you know. In fact, I will send to all of you these beautiful texts, really beautiful and really important, because it is the very thought that you are experiencing right now. So it means that again, exactly the same way in the commentary of the fourth Shamarpa, there is nothing that we can say it's not the absolute truth or the expression of the absolute truth. So all the dreams, all the objects, all the perceptions, all the thoughts we have are always the mind, in fact. That yeah, but after I don't know more than you, really not. So for me, I received this Dharma teaching as something that remind me really like a careful mother who say to me, don't be afraid, it's just a dream. Like the view, I take with me the view. This is the view. And so the view, it's something refreshing, because we are struggling a lot. Because we have, we think, what I'm doing this, and I'm like you, and but because we are maybe forgetting that whatever we do, it's always with that view, whatever we do, it's okay, because everything, it's a possibility of training in that ultimate. That's why the first part of the teaching of jungle control is absolutely beautiful. Although there are many ways of explaining view and meditation, they all come down to sustaining the essence of one's own mind. What we call mind, it's not something that exists elsewhere. It's the very thought that you are experiencing right now. So it means that really, yeah, it's exactly this. All the view, all the explanation we have, that's why delusion can appear as wisdom, because exactly for that reason. Exactly for that reason. Because in that kind of understanding, everything is all right. So it means that, but really. And so we have the possibility of making true the fact that delusion can appear as wisdom. Otherwise, we'll always think that wisdom will appear when delusion cease or end. But it's not that. Otherwise, all these great masters will never say that. It is the very thought that you are experiencing right now. So it's incredible, And I am, training the view. We have to train the view. Training the view means always thinking that we are not different, that what we perceive, what we think, what we do, it's always the expression of the dreamer. And so through that delusion, doing and so on, sensation, so we understand something of the dreamer. We understand the delusion nature of the dreamer. So understanding the delusion nature of the dreamer, it's the beginning of wisdom. But I think it's nice to be together, really. Why? Because it's nice to to think that we're not alone to try to understand this, because what a quest, you know. It's, wow, you know, it's incredible, you know. So we really need each other, you know. We need seeker, you know. You are a seeker of the truth. I'm seeker of the truth, and yeah, we try, and that's why. That's, yeah. So we have to try in the view. We cannot do something else, you know. But yes. Usually we forgot the truth. We forgot the view. We forgot the view, and we are trapped in things, forgetting and thinking that the view is just philosophy. No, it's not philosophy. It's really aware of like sensation we have. You know, the sensation we have are also the view. You know, the emotion we have are also the view. The dream we have are also the view. Everything is the view. When you see at this as the view, as the reminder of the view. Otherwise, you know, just you imagine the big difference. If we live our life, even if it's a very ordinary life, but this life, it's a reminder of the view. So this life, even totally ordinary, start to be not ordinary. This is what we can do with our life. It's what I'm trying to do with my very ordinary life. But really, you know, because otherwise, you know, what to do with myself, you know, I have to throw me away, you know, thinking that I'm not enough good. And it's right, I'm not enough good. But this also, it's a reminder of the view, always. Otherwise, I have to be someone else, you know. So to be someone else, it means that I think also that enlightenment is someone else, and so on, you know. It's the same logic. So the only way of being in the logic of the Dharma, so it's the possibility we train in perceiving what we perceive as the ultimate. So as a reminder of the view. I think this is not ordinary. Otherwise, thinking in black and white, this is very ordinary. So that's why this teaching of jungle control, it's absolutely beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful because he says it is the very thought that you are experiencing right now. Okay. If you are happy with that, we can stop here. Okay. With a dedication, sure.
Yeah, thank you very much for the answer and this and sharing this text, which is yes beyond words.
Yeah, really. Yeah, I send you right away this text. You will see it's beautiful. Yeah, absolutely beautiful. Could I send you right away? I will see. Yeah, no, but anyway, yeah, I will send you. Or maybe I can do this. Just wait. But anyway, you know, I will send you. No problem. Okay, we do a dedication, and that's all. Okay. Sanam tamche zempa ne tomne nyebe tanam pamje kega na jemba la tuba ye sebe zol toa toa isho. Okay, Thank you very much, and thank you to all of you, and because you give me a, a great chance, to understand something. So it helped me a lot. So okay, thank you, friends.
Thank you very much.
Thank you to you.
Thank you.
And have a nice day. Take care of yourself. Okay.